Ah, look who just made an entire intelligence unit stop mid-analysis. Look who walked through life minding their own business and somehow ended up triggering internal alerts inside buildings where people get paid to understand everything. Look who just rattled professionals whose entire career revolves around decoding human behavior, and yet they still can't figure out how you gained access to knowledge you were never supposed to have. Hello, you beautiful problem. Hello, you quiet disruption wearing human skin. Hello to the mind so sharp, so instinctively calibrated, so dangerously precise that even the people who run psychological profiling for a living are taking a step back from their desks, rubbing their temples, whispering the same exact sentence. How did they find this? And who told them? Oh, you didn't know, did you? You didn't know that while you were living your life, healing, working, evolving, the observers behind the scenes were pressing pause on your file, scrolling back, zooming in, replaying your reactions frame by frame, trying to understand how you connected dots you were never supposed to see. They weren't expecting you to know anything. They weren't expecting you to catch on. They weren't expecting you to sense the undercurrent behind people's intentions before they even fully formed their own plans. And the part twisting their nerves is that you don't just know, you know with precision. Because here's what shook them. Here's what made trained analysts freeze. They watched you behave like someone with access to information you never received. They saw you pick up on hidden motives with the accuracy of someone who sat in briefings you were never invited to. They saw you speak on timing, patterns, and emotional inconsistencies like someone who has been studying human psychology for years. But you didn't study. You didn't attend any program. You didn't sit in any classroom with tinted windows. You didn't get an assignment, an outline, or a mission. You just lived through situations that mutated your perception into something they can't categorize. You survived environments that sharpened your instincts into an unregistered instrument. You endured experiences that equipped you with insight no agency can replicate in training simulations. They're confused because your awareness doesn't follow a linear path. It jumps past the normal ladder. It bypasses the steps. You don't gather information, you absorb it. You don't ask questions, you detect answers. You don't investigate, you recognize. And what really bothers them is the effortlessness. You operate with the same clarity they spend entire careers trying to develop. They practice techniques to catch micro-expressions. You notice the entire emotional shift before someone even tries to hide it. They study conversational patterns to detect deception. You feel the moment someone's honesty fractures. They analyze tone to identify hidden motives. You understand the motive before the tone even changes. They don't know what to call this because it's not training and it's not luck. It's something else. Something learned through chaos, refined through pressure, sharpened through exposure to the kind of people who forced you to grow a layered perception just to stay intact. You became your own curriculum. You became your own intelligence network. You became your own internal briefing room. And because of that, your mind moves in angles they weren't prepared for. You see things that weren't meant to be noticed. You pick up dynamics that were supposed to stay buried. You understand people in ways that make them feel stripped of their disguises. And that's where the panic starts. Because intelligence workers only fear two types of people: the unpredictable and the unexplainable. And you are both. You can't be anticipated because you don't think in straight lines. You can't be deciphered because no familiar pattern matches you. You process at a depth that exposes the cracks in other people's intentions. And that kind of perception is dangerous for anyone who functions through hidden agendas. They expected the people around you to fool you. Instead, they got fooled. They expected you to ignore subtle shifts. Instead, you read them. They expected you to miss the signs. Instead, you cataloged them internally, like evidence. They expected you to walk blindly. Instead, you walked with awareness so sharp, it made observers uncomfortable. And here's the unspoken truth about why your knowledge freaks them out. You don't react like someone guessing. You react like someone who already knows the ending. And the moment someone behaves as if they know the conclusion to a story they were never told, that's when surveillance begins. Because that kind of awareness doesn't appear randomly. It comes from something, but the question is, what? How did you learn to read intentions before people express them? How did you learn to sense shifts in energy the moment someone starts lying to themselves? How did you learn to catch psychological transitions faster than trained interrogators? They don't know. They can't trace it. They can't pinpoint the moment your mind became this observant. They don't know if someone informed you. They don't know if you witnessed something. They don't know if you've been guided. They don't know if you're remembering something you were never meant to have access to. All they know is that the way you catch on to truth is not ordinary. At first, they tried to rationalize it. One analyst said, maybe this person is just very perceptive. But perceptive people usually second-guess themselves. You don't. You know. Another one said, maybe they've studied psychology. But trained minds have signatures, structured reasoning, deliberate thinking, methodical progression. Your mind doesn't move like that. You don't analyze step by step. You leap straight to the core. Someone else suggested, maybe they're paranoid. But paranoia creates illusions. You don't imagine things that aren't there. You identify things that are. Then a higher-level observer said the thing everyone else was afraid to say. This isn't learned behavior. This is adaptation. That's when the room went quiet. Because adaptation means your environment forced you to develop perception as a survival mechanism. And no agency knows how to handle someone who trained themselves unconsciously. You didn't read books on microbehavior. You grew up deciphering emotional traps because you had no choice. You didn't learn interrogation tactics. You learned to detect danger in voices because danger once lived in the same rooms you did. You didn't study manipulation. You experienced it repeatedly and cataloged every pattern internally to make sure it never destroyed you again. You didn't research how people hide jealousy, resentment, envy, or betrayal. You lived beside people who carried those emotions like weapons and taught your intuition how to identify them before they punctured you. That's why your accuracy scares them. Your intelligence isn't artificial. It's instinctive. It's embodied. It's ingrained. It's coded into your reactions. It's printed into your perception. People like you aren't shaped in classrooms. People like you are shaped in environments that don't have safety nets. Environments that force evolution. Environments that turn observation into armor. And because of that, the way you move feels like déjà vu to them. You react like someone who's already seen the inside of a situation before anyone explains it. You predict behavior like someone who has already watched the scene unfold. You call out tension like someone who's been briefed on who is clashing behind closed doors. And that's why someone in an analytic room said, "This shouldn't be possible. How are they doing this?" They ran your background. Nothing explains it. They studied your history. Nothing gives clues. They examined your patterns. Nothing lines up. You are a contradiction wrapped in clarity. But here's what's really keeping them awake at night. You don't look like someone who's analyzing anyone. You don't act like someone who's paying attention. You don't tilt your head, narrow your eyes, or do any of the obvious things people do when they're trying to read someone. You stay calm, you stay composed, you stay neutral, and that calmness unnerves them more than any flashy display of insight ever could. Because people who are noisy about their intelligence are easy to map. You are not. Your intelligence is quiet, the worst kind for observers. Quiet intelligence reveals itself only when needed. Quiet intelligence waits. Quiet intelligence doesn't announce. Quiet intelligence doesn't chase. Quiet intelligence notices everything and speaks only when the moment presents itself. And when that moment arrives, your accuracy hits with such precision that people feel exposed in a way that sends a ripple through the room. There are individuals who have watched you closely, not out of suspicion, but out of curiosity. They've noticed how you call out emotions people didn't verbalize. They've noticed how you withdraw before something goes wrong. They've noticed how you distance yourself from people right before they reveal their hidden agenda. They've noticed how you anticipate reactions without needing clues. They've noticed how you understand motives before words. And they've noticed how every time someone lies to you, you tilt your energy in a very specific way that tells them you already know. That's the part that burns through their composure. Your awareness is not random. It's not accidental. It's patterned, consistent, and deeper than what they call normal comprehension. They don't know whether it's emotional intelligence amplified by trauma, instinct refined by necessity, or something older and stronger running beneath your surface. What they do know is that you're seeing too much. And when someone sees too much, they become unpredictable to those who depend on secrecy. Your knowledge is not passive, it's active. It rearranges situations. It exposes lies. It dismantles facades. It interrupts manipulation. It removes leverage from people who rely on confusion, and people who lose leverage panic. Which brings us to the question they keep circling back to. How did they find this out? They've monitored enough human behavior to know that patterns don't appear without origin. Someone usually teaches you. Someone informs you. Someone guides you. But you act like you were briefed by something they can't track. You act like you overheard conversations you were never present for. You act like someone handed you a folder filled with information no one ever gave you. And that mystery is more unsettling than anything else about you. But what they don't realize yet, what they're about to realize very soon, is that this is only the beginning. Because the more they try to understand you, the more confused they become. And the more confused they become, the more they start digging. And the more they dig, the more they uncover a truth that makes them exchange glances across their desks, lean back in their chairs and whisper, "This is going deeper than we thought." That moment, the moment when confusion shifts into concern, is where the real trouble begins for them. See, confusion is manageable. Confusion means they can gather more data, observe more interactions, replay more footage, test more psychological models. But concern signals that you've crossed a threshold that trained personnel can't easily label. Concern means your awareness isn't a coincidence, it's a pattern. Concern means you're not just perceptive, you're consistent. Concern means your insight isn't accidental, it's precise. And nothing unsettles observers more than encountering someone whose precision cannot be traced to any logical foundation. They expected your accuracy to fade, They expected it to fluctuate. They expected it to crumble under pressure. Instead, it sharpened. Each time you reacted to something that hadn't been said out loud, someone behind a screen would lean forward. Each time you detected tension before the source revealed itself, someone in an evaluation room clicked pause with a deeper frown. Each time you removed yourself from situations right before hidden agendas surfaced, someone scribbled on a notepad with concern in their handwriting. You kept proving them wrong without even trying. You kept acting like someone who already had a map to territory you were supposedly just exploring. And every time you did, more questions surfaced among those watching you. The first question, where is the leak? Because that's the only explanation that fits their worldview. If someone knows too much, someone must be feeding them. But the more they observe you, the more they realize no one is feeding you anything. You don't receive information. You generate comprehension. You aren't being informed. You're perceiving. You're noticing. You're assembling meaning faster than trained personnel can evaluate the situation. And once they realize no external leak exists, they move on to the second question. What did we miss about them? They start flipping through your history again. They start examining your interactions again. They start reviewing your responses to previous events. But they hit the same brick wall. No one taught you. No one prepared you. No one trained you. And yet you process the world like someone who's been studying psychological warfare since childhood. Someone inside one of those rooms eventually mutters, maybe they've been through something we don't know about. And the room goes still, because that possibility is the one that terrifies them most. That your life forced you into a level of awareness they can't quantify. That you learned what you learned without guidance. That you picked up the truth because your environment demanded it. That your experiences shaped you into something they can't file neatly. And when someone develops intelligence without instruction, without mentorship, without structured exposure, that means their comprehension has no ceiling. It can expand indefinitely. It can grow without boundaries. It can evolve beyond prediction. This is where you begin to unsettle them, not just as an individual, but as a variable. Unpredictable variables threaten analysis. They break models. They shatter assumptions. And a mind like yours, quick, quiet, adaptive, dangerous without trying, becomes something worth monitoring. Not because they think you're harmful, but because they can't determine what you're capable of becoming. You're moving faster than their categories. You're outpacing their metrics. You're dismantling their confidence in their own expertise. The irony is, you're not doing anything on purpose. You're not trying to be mysterious. You're not trying to expose anyone. You're not trying to shock analysts sitting behind dim monitors. You're simply existing with the kind of awareness most people never develop. And your existence alone destabilizes their certainty in the patterns they swear by. And then comes the moment that truly disturbs them, when your insight exposes someone inside their own structure without you meaning to. It happens simply because you speak the truth at the wrong time, or the right time, depending on perspective. Maybe you mention a behavior pattern someone is trying to hide. Maybe you describe a dynamic that mirrors an internal conflict. Maybe you point out an intention that someone in the observation chain hoped would stay buried. One analyst hears your comment and feels a sudden jolt of recognition, not because you identified a random truth, but because you identified a truth that person has been hiding from everyone. You spoke on something they thought no outsider could detect. And in that moment, fear replaces curiosity. Because now you're not just someone who understands people. You're someone who can see into the parts of people they hide even from themselves. And that level of insight is dangerous, not because you use it to harm, but because you don't need permission to perceive. You don't need proof to read someone. You don't need evidence to know the undercurrent behind their actions. You don't need signs. You feel the shift. This is where the internal conversations start happening. Someone asks, "How are they doing this?" Someone else replies, "I don't know." Another adds, "This isn't normal perception." Then another quieter voice says, "This might be beyond what we're equipped for." And that comment lingers in the air like smoke that won't disperse. Because what does it mean when someone outside their reach surpasses the awareness of trained personnel? What does it mean when someone who wasn't supposed to know anything starts connecting dots at a speed even analysts can't keep up with? What does it mean when your presence alone destabilizes the confidence of people who dedicate their lives to reading others? It means they've encountered someone their training didn't prepare them for. It means they've come across a mind shaped through survival instead of schooling. It means they're observing someone who sees in ways textbooks can't teach. And that realization forces them to escalate the situation. Not externally, internally. The first escalation is silent. A few more eyes get assigned to your case. Not because you're dangerous, but because you're confusing. Confusion requires observation. They start tracking your responses more closely. They start analyzing the way you interact with people. They start building internal files on your behavioral patterns. And each time they think they've found an answer, you behave in a way that proves their conclusion wrong. So they escalate again. This time, they bring in someone higher on the chain. A more seasoned analyst. Someone whose specialty is decoding minds that don't follow obvious rotes. But even that person can't categorize you. They watch you connect unrelated events with an accuracy that feels unfair. They watch you interpret emotional cues faster than the people experiencing them. They watch you detach at the correct moment as if you can foresee the chaos ahead. The seasoned analyst gets quiet, not impressed, not suspicious, but uneasy. Because now the question isn't, how do they know? The question is, how much do they know? And how are they still calm? Calmness is the second thing that bothers them. People with high awareness usually display tension. They flinch mentally. They overthink. They hesitate. But you're steady. You don't panic around truth. You don't tremble when someone reveals their intentions. You don't gasp internally when someone contradicts themselves. Your calmness isn't arrogance, it's clarity. You recognize people for what they are before they show it, so nothing surprises you. And that unsettles observers more than anything else. Predictive minds are dangerous because they can't be blindsided. And people who can't be blindsided disrupt the balance inside environments built on unpredictability. Then comes the point no analyst wants to reach. The point where they must admit that your awareness is not just high, it's rising. You're learning faster than they can monitor. Each experience adds another layer to your perception. Each encounter sharpens your detection. Each disappointment expands your insight. And every time you uncover another truth with speed that looks impossible, their concern deepens. They start wondering whether this is natural growth or something else entirely. Some strange internal compass steering you toward answers you aren't supposed to reach. They start questioning whether your mind is operating according to known rules. They start considering whether someone or something shaped your instincts in ways their frameworks can't measure. Someone in one of those rooms eventually says, They're learning too quickly. And that statement stands out. Learning isn't a threat. Learning is normal. But learning at your pace, learning without resistance, learning without confusion, learning without needing guidance, that's different. That's what makes them uncomfortable. Because rapid internal growth without external input means your mind is doing something on its own, recalibrating, restructuring, refining itself without instruction. And that leads to the third escalation. This is where someone decides to run a deeper analysis on your emotional history. They try to track where your survival instincts developed. They investigate your past connections. They analyze your reactions to betrayal, disappointment, abandonment, conflict, and pressure. And that's when they understand the truth you never voiced out loud. You didn't wake up perceptive. You were sculpted into perception. You were shaped by pain. You were widened by conflict. You were pushed into awareness by circumstances that demanded vigilance. You learned to read people not because you wanted to, but because you were forced to. You learned to sense danger not because it was interesting, but because your safety depended on it. You learned to anticipate human behavior because unpredictability nearly cost you everything once. Your insight is the echo of survival. Your accuracy is the outcome of endurance. Your awareness is the residue of everything you overcame. Your mind sharpened itself through necessity. It became a blade because it had to. And once they realize this, their confusion shifts again, this time into respect tinged with fear. Because people shaped by comfort break under pressure. People shaped by conflict evolve under pressure. And you evolved. But that's not the part that frightens them most. The part that truly shakes them is that your insight isn't hardened. It's not cynical. It's not bitter. It's clean. You read people clearly without poisoning the truth. You detect intentions without twisting them. You see hidden motives without letting them break your faith in yourself. Most people sharpened by hardship become jagged. You didn't. You became transparent. And transparency combined with precision creates a kind of intelligence even analysts can't predict. They watch you walk into situations knowing exactly what's happening, yet you remain calm. They watch you sense someone's motive, yet you respond with maturity. They watch you avoid traps with ease, yet you don't brag or expose the people setting them. This is the moment the analysts understand the real danger, not to you, but to anyone who tries to manipulate you. Because manipulation requires confusion, manipulation requires blindness, manipulation requires emotional fog. You have none of that. You see every angle with unsettling clarity. Someone makes a comment, and you catch the insecurity behind it. Someone smiles, and you feel the resentment beneath it. Someone gives advice, and you notice the hidden jealousy attached. Someone offers help, and you recognize the control they're seeking. Someone grows distant, and you detect the guilt haunting them. Someone returns, and you perceive the hidden motive behind their timing. This is where the analysts collectively realize you are not just aware. You are several steps ahead. And when someone is ahead, they're harder to contain. This leads to the fourth escalation, the point where someone suggests involving a specialist, not to handle you, not to confront you, but to understand you. The specialist watches you for a few days, and instead of simplifying your profile, they make it more complicated. They start noticing the things the others missed, the way your expressions barely shift when someone lies, the way your energy drops a degree when someone pretends, the way your attention sharpens when someone reveals a hidden truth by accident, the way your presence changes subtly when someone's emotions shift. And then comes the moment the specialist stops writing altogether. They sit back and say, "We're not dealing with someone who learned this. We're dealing with someone who sees this." And that distinction makes every person in that room rethink their assumptions. Because learned knowledge has limits, but perception can expand forever. And now they're terrified of how far yours can go. They start asking themselves questions they don't like. How much will they understand next year? How much more will they see after their next hardship? How far will their mind sharpen if someone betrays them again? What happens when someone with this level of awareness reaches full maturity? These are the questions that turn concern into fear. Because when someone's knowledge grows with every challenge, and when their clarity strengthens with every loss, then their mind is building itself into something unstoppable. And here's the most chaotic part. You're not even trying. You're not training. You're not studying. You're not researching. You're just living. Yet your mind functions like an intelligence tool that's been refined across decades. This is the point where the analysts accept a truth they never wanted to acknowledge. You are not operating on borrowed information. You are operating on internal understanding. You don't need leaks. You don't need sources. You don't need instructions. Your life already taught you everything the world tried to hide. And that realization leads to the fifth escalation, the moment they stop trying to figure out how you know what you know and start trying to determine how far you'll go. They're not afraid of the knowledge you currently possess. They're afraid of the knowledge you're about to discover, because you keep uncovering things before anyone expects you to. You keep sensing changes before they manifest. You keep identifying people's motives before the people themselves understand those motives. And that kind of foresight makes observers feel exposed. It makes manipulators feel nervous. It makes liars feel naked. It makes controllers feel powerless. It makes insecure people feel targeted. It makes emotionally dishonest people feel threatened. And it makes analysts realize they're watching someone who might eventually outgrow even their ability to interpret. That's the moment the senior-most analyst enters the conversation. Someone who rarely comments. Someone who has seen thousands of psychological profiles. Someone who rarely expresses anything resembling concern. They look at your file, read through the notes, observe your footage, watch your interactions, and then say in a quiet, decisive tone, "You're looking at someone whose awareness is accelerating. This isn't an accident. This isn't a coincidence. This is progression." The room goes still, because progression means you're not done. Progression means your abilities will sharpen further. Progression means your insight will multiply. Progression means they're dealing with a moving target, and moving targets cannot be predicted. That single sentence hits the room harder than any dramatic outburst could. Because when the senior-most analyst speaks, people listen. Not because of rank, but because this is the person who has spent decades reading minds that fool entire departments. This is the person who can profile a stranger in 15 seconds. This is the person who can detect deception in a heartbeat, and even they are unsettled. That alone shifts the atmosphere, thickening it with a tension no one wants to acknowledge. They're no longer treating you like an interesting case. They're treating you like an exception to everything they've studied. And exceptions cause chaos in institutions that depend on order. They replay your footage again, but this time with different eyes. They're not looking for what you know anymore. They're looking for what you're becoming. They watch the way you pause before making decisions. They analyze the timing of your reactions. They observe the subtle way your perspective widens every time you encounter a lie. They note how quickly your intuition recalibrates when someone shifts their tone. They see how your attention sharpens the moment someone's intention deviates from the surface. And the strangest part, you do all of this without trying. Your mind is evolving passively, naturally, without friction. You're not training for this. You're not pushing for this. You're simply growing on a level they can't measure. Someone in the back of the room finally asks the question everyone has been avoiding. What happens when they fully develop? The senior analyst gives no answer. They just keep staring at your file with the kind of expression that means they've already thought about it too much. Because full development, in your case, doesn't mean acquiring new skills. It means refining an instinct that's already outperforming their training. It means understanding people at a depth they can't teach. It means detecting motives before those motives solidify. It means you'll be able to see through deception instantly. And the thought of that terrifies them more than anything else. Because there's something fundamentally dangerous about someone who can't be misled. Not dangerous in the traditional sense. Dangerous because you dismantle illusions without effort. Dangerous because you destabilize manipulation without confrontation. Dangerous because people cannot hide around you. Not their intentions, not their insecurities, not their motives. That kind of clarity threatens people who depend on ambiguity. And the intelligence world is built on ambiguity. They maneuver through it, they weaponize it, they rely on it. But you cut straight through it like it's nothing. And that's why your progression rattles them. They've seen geniuses before. They've seen prodigies. They've seen people with photographic memory, people with enhanced recall, people with emotional genius. But those individuals were predictable. Their skill sets were measurable. Their growth was linear. You're none of those things. You are the outlier they can't calibrate. Your insights come from angles that shouldn't exist. Your conclusions appear too quickly. Your accuracy exceeds the data provided. Your instincts fire before their monitors detect any shift in behavior. It's like you're receiving intel from a source no one else has access to. And that's what pushes them into discomfort. This idea that your knowledge might not be coming from observation alone. That you're tapping into something deeper, something internal, something unexplainable within their frameworks. Because every time they review your decisions, your timing, your awareness, one thing becomes clear. You're not reacting, you're anticipating. That anticipation terrifies them. It means you're ahead. It means you're intercepting truth before the situation even finishes unfolding. It means you're reading signals they haven't detected yet. So the senior analyst asks a new question. How far ahead are they? And nobody answers. Because that question forces everyone to acknowledge the possibility that your awareness might exceed their tools. It might surpass their training. It might outrun their understanding entirely. Someone proposes running advanced psychological simulations to test the limits of your perception. But the senior analyst shuts it down immediately. They're not someone you test, they're someone you watch. And the room goes quiet again. Because when an institution resorts to observation instead of intervention, it means one thing. They respect the unknown. They begin tracking the progression of your insight across time. They map your behavioral growth. They plot your intuitive leaps. They analyze your interpersonal decisions. And each new line on the graph rises faster than the last. Your awareness isn't just progressing. It's accelerating exponentially. And this acceleration forces them to consider the impossible. that you might become someone they cannot classify at all, someone who surpasses the limitations of their field, someone who reads the room faster than they can gather data, someone whose internal compass outperforms their external instruments. This realization shifts the internal tone from analysis to caution. Not caution toward you, caution toward the world around you. Because they realize something they should have seen earlier. You don't use your insight to harm. You use it to protect yourself, to remove yourself from danger, to shut down manipulation, to identify threats before they get close, to read intentions before they turn into actions. And that level of instinctive, self-protective clarity makes you not just unpredictable, it makes you untouchable. But then something else happens, something none of them were prepared for. You begin predicting things they never expected you to decode. You notice subtle changes in someone's expression and piece together an entire psychological map. You sense someone's guilt days before they confess. You catch the emotional transition in someone who thought they hid it well. You expose contradictions with one sentence, leaving the room silent. And the most unsettling part, you do all of this without knowing you're being watched. Your natural processing power is outperforming experts who rely on entire frameworks to interpret the same data. That's when the senior analyst does something unusual. They close the file, they turn off the footage, they stop the analysis, and they say, "We're not dealing with information, we're dealing with insight." That distinction matters more than anything else. Information can be controlled, information can be filtered, information can be withheld. Insight cannot. Insight bypasses barriers. Insight overrides deception. Insight ignores manipulation. Insight empties the room of illusion. And your insight, specifically, doesn't come from training. It comes from experience. Experience that sharpened you. Experience that rewired you. Experience that forced you to evolve into someone who sees everything clearly. This is when the internal atmosphere changes. They're no longer looking at you like a subject. They're looking at you like a phenomenon they can't slow down. Someone who processes truth faster than lies can form. Someone who identifies emotional footprints before the person leaves the room. Someone who has become the psychological equivalent of a surveillance device without trying. And you don't even know it. That's the terrifying beauty of it. But then the senior analyst introduces a thought that freezes everyone. If their awareness is accelerating this quickly, then what happens when they start noticing us? The silence becomes suffocating. Because the truth is, you already have. You may not know the details. You may not know the structure. You may not know the names, the rooms, the monitors, the curious eyes behind the screens. But you've felt it, the shift, the pressure, the strange moments when you sensed you were being examined by something unseen, the intuitive spike that told you someone was paying attention when no one was around. And that intuitive spike wasn't wrong. They know you've sensed them. They know you felt the subtle pull of observation. They know your mind brushed against their gaze like a breeze brushing against a door. And that's what terrifies them most. You noticed without evidence. You detected without hints. You recognized presence without footprints, which means your perception has crossed into territory reserved for people who shouldn't exist. The senior analyst continues. If they can feel observation without being told, they're already beyond our models. That shift in tone spreads through the room like a quiet alarm. Because if you can sense unseen observation, then you're not just perceptive, you're untethered. Untethered minds are the hardest to profile. They move freely, They transcend behavioral expectations. They refuse to be boxed into neat categories. Now, what was once curiosity has turned into full-blown unease. The analysts start re-watching your footage with new sensitivity. They look at moments where your eyes shift direction abruptly, as if picking up something no one else noticed. They look at the way your energy changes when someone's intention shifts. They look at the way you pause as if hearing something internally. And they realize what they missed. You don't just read behavior, you read atmosphere, you read context, you read internal turbulence, you read emotional distortion, you read tension like it's printed in the air. And they cannot figure out how. Someone suggests the possibility that your brain processes subtle cues others overlook. Micro movements, tone variations, emotional signatures. But even that explanation falls short. Because your awareness goes beyond physical cues. You sense things before they're expressed. You recognize motives before they surface. You understand dynamics before they become visible. Your mind operates like a predictive engine built from years of exposure to inconsistency, chaos, betrayal, and human fragility. You learned humans the hard way. They learned humans academically. That alone puts you at an advantage they can't replicate. But then comes the absolute breaking point. The moment when their entire room goes cold. Someone finally asks, "What if this isn't the limit?" And that question terrifies everyone. Because if your awareness has been accelerating on its own, without training, without mentorship, without structured enhancement, then what happens when your life exposes you to more complexity? What happens when you encounter more manipulation? What happens when someone lies to you again? What happens when someone tries to play psychological games with you? What happens when someone underestimates you one more time? Your mind is wired to evolve through impact, and life has already impacted you enough to turn you into a perceptive force that outpaces trained analysts. So what happens when your next evolution hits? They don't have an answer, and that's what scares them. Because the truth is, your progression is not slowing down. Your clarity is sharpening. Your intuition is intensifying. Your internal compass is recalibrating. Everything about you is moving upward, outward, forward. And they can't stop it. They can't slow it. They can't redirect it. They can't interfere with it. They can only watch it happen. And the worst part for them, you still don't know how much you know. You're just moving naturally. You're just living, healing, navigating, analyzing quietly. You're not aware of the seismic impact your awareness has on people who depend on psychological camouflage. You're not aware that your insight has already exposed the kind of patterns that take analysts years to detect. You're not aware that your instincts already surpass half the professionals studying you. Which brings the room to its final realization, the realization that ties this entire topic together. You know things you were never taught. You understand things no one said. You connect truths no one gave you. Your knowledge doesn't come from leaks. Your knowledge doesn't come from whispers. Your knowledge doesn't come from sources. Your knowledge comes from you. That's why they're rattled. That's why they're whispering. That's why the senior analyst shut down further testing. Because your intelligence isn't traceable. Your awareness isn't explainable. Your insight isn't containable. And when a mind can't be traced, explained, or contained, then it becomes the one thing the CIA cannot categorize. A mind that knows too much without being told anything at all. Which is exactly why they're freaking out. Exactly why the observers keep watching. Exactly why your name is circled in red ink. And exactly why every analyst in that room knows the same truth. They didn't discover you. You discovered everything around you. And they can't understand how or who told you. Because the answer terrifies them more than anything else. No one told you. You simply knew. And that is the part that makes them realize this case. It's far from over.